taking the lead. Our lives in a nutshell. Met each other at 15 years old. She is now 38 and I'm 37. We were best friends, never one without the other. We grew out of our teens together and became exclusive at the age of 21 for her. We had our first child when I was 21, she was 22. Very young, I know. We had issues back then. Not getting along, arguments, pressures of life, raising a child at such a very young age, etc. We made it through the thick of it and life got to be good. We loved each other and got along, at this time, for the most part. Our physical life was good and we really only dealt with normal life issues. Nothing that the two of us together couldn't get through. Early 2008 we decided we wanted another child and so we started trying. June of 2008, she found out she was pregnant. We couldn't have been happier. The pregnancy was rough on her. She developed preeclampsia. She ended up having our daughter 3 months early and she only barely survived the ordeal, both of them. Literally, blessed we were. Newfound love for one another. Go forward almost a year and everything was good. We got along, had great chemistry, and in general we just enjoyed and loved each other's company. We've, for the most part, always enjoyed and loved each other. I always had her back and vice versa. We work well together. August of 2009 I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It crippled me, literally. I couldn't walk for months and had a hard time doing anything. I couldn't feel anything from the waist down. Needless to say, the bedroom life took a turn for the worst. I really slumped into depression. I gave up on life and friends and my wife. I was always there for my kids, but my wife definitely took a back seat. I started to become angry with her for no reason other than I was mad that what I was going through was actually happening. My life had been totally turned upside down by the MS. The meds I had to take were awful and only made me sick. My quality of life diminished so much and I took it out on her. Not good, I know. What's more is, she was always there for me during this period. Always had my back. From August of 2009 until 2012 I was very much struggling with my condition. It changed me. Besides my condition, our lives kind of kept the same course or pattern. Although over those years, we definitely disconnected emotionally from each other. Bonding became a chore. Boring. Nothing new. On top of all that, I feel I pushed my wife away. My bitterness and anger in myself. I'm going to fly through some years now so as to not make this story 10 pages long. It started in 2013. She had just started a new job and not too long after began talking to a co-worker. I knew very little about it, but I also didn't feel the need to dig into it as I have always trusted her. She has never given me a reason to not. We didn't have the greatest relationship at this time. A lot of fighting and hostility between the both of us. She began an IA with this guy that lasted about 6 months. From May to Nov of 2013. It was in person, at work, as well as texting. She literally would text him an average of about 5,000 texts per month, until I caught her. She would sleep with her phone and, of course, I was denied access to everything. He consumed her life. After being caught, she broke it off with him. Unfortunately for me, I just rug swept it. We never really discussed it and I just tried to move on. I never did get over it and I realized that now. In 2015 she became pregnant again with our third child. Rough pregnancy again, but we made it. He was born in June of 2015. Married life was not going very well, but we persevered on, somehow. In August of 2016 I found a text between her and a female friend of hers that she was debating on whether or not to meet this same guy, from 2013, for lunch. That was on a Thursday. The next day, she informs me she's going to lunch with this particular female friend. She even took our youngest with her. I knew what she had sent to that particular friend, but I kept my mouth shut. After I confronted the friend about the lunch a few days later, just to see what she would say, she had no knowledge of it. So, I confront my wife with the texts. She of course denies up and down that she met him. She says she was going to but decided against it, and her and my youngest just went to the store to waste time and then returned home. She told me she was done with him and had no intention of ever seeing him again. Rug sweep again. I'm so foolish, but I loved her so much and couldn't bear the thought of my kids growing up in a broken home. Everything went quiet for a year and a half or so, until March of this year. I find an email notification on her phone from this same man. It says basically, "So, I guess you're just not responding to me anymore." I did a few minutes of digging and quickly found out she had a secret email address. I confront her about it and she denies still talking to him. Says she used it to buy my Christmas present so I wouldn't know what she was getting me. We get into a fight and she, reluctantly, finally, confesses to me. I leave the house with the mindset of, this is it, I'm done. Breakdown of the affair. 2013 meets this guy. He's charming and saying the right things to her. Things I quit doing. Showed her attention which I had quit doing. She begins the IA, gets caught after some months and breaks it off with him. 2014 he reaches out to her again and she responds. In June and July 2014, they begin the IA again and then a PA, which she just confessed to me in March 2018. She says they only had slept together 3 times. She said the guilt ate her alive and she just couldn't do it anymore. Breaks it off again and then is pregnant in November of 2014. He of course thinks it's his. He wouldn't leave her alone and until she had the baby and gave them a paternity test. He stated he was not going anywhere. She did this and it was proven to not be his. From this point on he won't leave her alone, so she says. No phone calls, but a lot of emails threatening to tell me everything if she doesn't do what he wants. So, she kept him on a very long leash to appease him and to keep everything hidden. Of course, no lie goes unfounded. I find out about the lunch meetup in August of 2016 and then nothing else until March of 2018. She says she stopped everything with him after the PA, but he wouldn't let it go. She stated that she hasn't seen him since 2015 for the paternity test and not one time before that since she ended the PA. Then why want to meet him in 2016? And why the email still is of March 2018. She did allow me access to that email address and I read a brief part of a couple of the emails. Not stuff she wrote but stuff he wrote. As best I could tell she hadn't been emailing him, only him emailing her, but what the hell. She has since erased everything and I have no way to read any of the other emails. She said she didn't want me to look at her in an even uglier light than I already do because of what she did. Meaning she didn't want me to read what she had written back to him. Now everything that I know is what she has told me. I have been able to find out very little on my own, even though I have tried very hard. So, by her words, the affair was over in, call it, August of 2014 and only one in-person contact for the paternity test and since that time only emails, which she says would be one email every 2 to 3 months. Just to satisfy him and to keep the affair secret still. I left the house for 3 weeks. I tried my best to 180 on her and for the most part I did and it worked. She knows the devastation she has caused. She knows how much it hurt me, now anyways, and she seems to be truly remorseful. She is as sick about it as I am. I feel she's finally being true to herself, and in turn is able to be true to me. It's been closer to 2 months since my D-Day and things are getting better. I can't shake the feelings though. The movie in my head. The what if she does it again. The what if she lied about this or that. I feel she has but I have no way to prove otherwise. She has made leaps and bounds to bend over backwards for me and to be there to comfort and help me. She apologizes profusely and seems genuine in her apologies. She is constantly informing me of her whereabouts, changed her phone number, canceled email address, FB, etc. I have been with her for a long time and I can tell this has been a very sickening part of her life, for her. I can tell it has been eating at her for years. My question, am I being, again, a naive, foolish man who is so blind by love that I can't see a life without her? Should I just call it quits? I strongly conveyed to her how close I am and willing I am to divorce. But I would like to try and work through the issues and hope to see a stronger, healthier marriage in the long road ahead. We have such a long history and such a unique bond with each other. I do feel this was truly a horrible mistake she made and I already see her doing everything she can to rectify the problem. If you made it through my long, drawn-out story, I do thank you for reading it, listening to me and I hope it made sense. Any advice, any words of comfort, any criticisms? It took a lot for me to get the nerve to post my story, so try and be a little easy on me lol. I know how some will react to my story, as I've been reading on here daily. Be nice lol and thanks for any input. I feel my story has similarities to other stories on here but is also unique in how it has played out and how long ago, supposedly, the EAPA ended. For her I guess it's old news, but for me it just happened. I do feel I've already decided to try and work on R. That's the problem though. Man, is it going to be a long hard road and what if she? Yeah. Iam is currently going through a divorce. I do feel his wife or STBX needs to know, but I have no way to contact her. I tried. He is a truck driver and, so my wife tells me, is never in town. Since he and his wife filed for divorce he has moved out and is on the road all the time. He seems to not really have a permanent residence right now. Writing a letter would do no good. Where do I send it? I had contemplated on having her take out a TPO on him because, from how she states it, it does seem it could be slightly stalker. That friend is already gone. One of the non-negotiables that I gave her, along with a list of others. She has been very receptive and has done everything I have, so far, asked of her. I do agree too. She is minimalizing her role in the affair, hence why she didn't want me to read all the emails and deleted them before I could finish reading them. I'm definitely not rug sweeping this time. While I want to try and work on R, I feel I will always have these doubts, thoughts, concerns, what ifs, etc. even years down the road. I can't imagine a D, but I also can't live with how I feel now for the rest of my life, and I worried that this feeling I have isn't going to go away. I feel so stuck and lost. We've been married almost 10 years and I feel like she has spent half of our marriage with another man. The kid is mine. I have no fear of that. He looks identical to my other 2 kids, 16 and 9. I mean a spitting image. We always joked how weird is it that our kids look so much alike. It's uncanny. I can't afford a polygraph, although I would definitely make her take one if I could. I have got timelines from her and they all jive with what I know, what I've found out through my own detective work, and what, lol, she has told me. Hard to believe her, really hard, but things do add up as they should. That's why, for the first time in a long time, I feel she's finally being honest and wanting to put this behind her. Me getting past it is another story, hence why I hear. STD test has been done. Clean. Family, both sides, know what she did. She has been fully exposed to her friends and co-workers. She's living in misery, as she should. She's very embarrassed and ashamed of her actions. She has had a couple friends turn their backs to her. They can't believe she did what she did. We have started individual counseling as well, soon to be couples counseling. Comment: she deleted all the emails because she didn't want you to see the ugliness. That's the same reason she's lying about the 3 times physical. I don't know if it matters much whether it was 3 times or 30 times or 300 times. I think the still lying does matter. And really, she can't be believed yet, even if she did give you some info. She also destroyed the evidence that could back up her assertions. All things considered, I'd have to think she was lying. It was a 5-year affair. She supposedly had slept together 3 times. You know what cheaters do sometimes? They get a little crafty. Are you sure it was only 3 times over the whole 5 years? Or it was only 3 times since it was reinstituted since 2016? You don't lay out your evidence that you uncovered, but based on the facts, it seems odd. A trucker who travels a lot, supposedly can have women in many cities, and yet is so obsessed with your wife. Over only 3 times. It theoretically could be true, but I guess so is Bigfoot or aliens. I sure would like to see one. I think you've done a lot to end the affair. From what you describe, she has taken very good actions, not just words, and she seems remorseful, which also is unusual, especially the first few weeks or months after first being caught. I think your strong, decisive actions saved you a ton of grief. I really think you have done a tremendous job so far. I would say either you are naturally emotionally strong or you are a fast learner from reading here for 7 weeks. But you've done a whole lot right. What specifically are you asking about regarding going forward? It was a 5-year affair. That's a long time. You caught her, but that didn't scare her from ending it with him. So, this is pretty egregious. The other man knew more about your real life than you did for 5 years. I suspect you are in a temporary grateful place, like you were in a bad accident and you've been hurt badly, but you're feeling grateful to be alive. Does it matter to you that she very, very likely is lying about the 3 times? I suggest asking her to save up for a polygraph. Let it be a long-term project. How much does a poly cost? $700 maybe. Put a big jar in a closet somewhere and ask her to put $2 in every day. In a year she can take the polygraph. Listen, poly is a tool to get the truth. I think every reconciliation starts with the truth. Otherwise, I think you are in a good position to try to reconcile. I think your toughest job is your mind. It will take forever to feel okay. Years. This is how it works. You will feel like this for a long time. She will have to be trustworthy in her actions and words. Over time, when she does this consistently and has no relapses of lying or secrecy, you will begin to trust again. It will never come back to where it was before. Your marriage could be better communication-wise, bonding-wise, connection-wise, but there always will be that scar that will flare every so often. While you are reconciling, there will be times when you find something alarming that you think she is up to something, where she has done something you specifically asked her not to, and you will blow up, and you will find out it was a misunderstanding. She didn't really do it, a false alarm. If she takes that in stride and understands your emotions, you will move forward. I suggest not monitoring her too much for your own peace of mind. Do so now if you feel better, but consider that it might make you feel a certain funny way about it, that you have to guard your wife's messages or else she might start cheating again. You might start feeling that you have to keep up with on top of her or else she might cheat. It's no way to live. I don't think it helps you with self-esteem or self-respect. She should always be transparent and she should be staying in front of making sure you are happy with her transparency, not the other way around. If she wants to cheat, she will even with your monitoring. But now that you are no longer blindly trusting her and you are not rug sweeping, you will catch it much more easily if she does. OP responds. So, here's an update. I told the wife last night we had to talk. I told her this is where I am. I feel some weeks back when I gave her the opportunity to confess everything and be 100% truthful, she was not. I told her I feel now that that time has passed and she wasn't truthful then that now she feels she can't be because it would be just another lie after she said she was being 100% truthful. I told her I also had set up a polygraph test for her to take on May 9th and if she wasn't truthful 100% now, that it would just come out in the poly and then that would officially be the end of us and any thought to her if she had that little respect for me, that she couldn't be truthful 100% now, that she would never be. I told her I have 3 questions for her and that I would leave the room and return in 30 minutes, and if she had anything else to tell me, now is the time. 30 minutes later I returned and man oh man did the threat of the poly work. She crumbled. The 3 questions. 1. How many times did the 2 of you sleep together and when was the last physical encounter? 2. How close to a 50/50 chance was it that our 3rd child was not going to be mine? 3. When did you officially end the relationship and when was the last time you had contact with him? Her answers. 1. The 3 times went up to 10 to 15. She says she can't remember but no more than that. She said the last physical encounter was in August 2014. Their PIA lasted about 3 months until August when she ended it. She said she knew how wrong it was and the guilt was eating her alive. 2. She said she ended the PIA in August 2014 and became pregnant in Nov 2014. She said she was 100% sure the child was mine, and on top of that she said they never had unprotected incident. Hard to believe, but maybe. I reminded her the polygraph will tell. She says he was adamant that there could be a chance the child could be his. Condoms aren't always 100% effective, hence why he wanted the paternity test done. She says, even though she knew 100% the child wasn't his, if she didn't go through with the test, he would spill the beans to me. Okay, yeah, maybe, but. 3. She says the relationship officially ended in August 2014. From then until the birth of our child in June 2015, there was minimal contact, mainly him emailing her to see how she was doing and if she needed anything. Of course, she would reply back, "I'm no fool." After the birth of our child and the paternity test, she said contact became 1 to 2 emails every few months. That went from June 2015 until middle of 2016 when contact basically stopped. From middle of 2016 until end of 2017 she said they only shared an email every few months and it was nothing more than, "Hey, how are you?" The last time she said she reached out to him was Christmas 2017 when she emailed him Merry Christmas. She said that's all there was to it and has been done since. Until March 2018 when he emailed her them. "Hey, so I guess you're just not responding to me anymore." Email that I found. After she told me these things, she looked me dead in the eye and spoke. "Now, I'm ready for the polygraph. I feel she has nothing left to hide. She's lost everything. She knows that I will leave and our kids will suffer greatly from us not being together anymore." It seems not much changed from the original story she told me several weeks back except how many times they slept together. She said she didn't want to tell me the real number because she thought if it was a low number, it wouldn't hurt me as much. I have decided to get an actual polygraph test done ASAP. I guess it will have to go on a credit card, but that is okay if it brings me some peace of mind and reassures the answers she gave me were in fact, finally truths. I don't know where I'm going from here. I'm so lost and sad and depressed. I feel like my whole world has been torn from under me, and even when we tried to get the honesty out and start building a new foundation weeks ago, she still lied. To my face. I hurt. A lot. I cried myself to sleep last night and have been crying all day today. I can't stop. I told her last night that we would get a paternity test done for me, if for nothing more than the exact words you said. It will bring home to your wife, yet again, the doubt, damage, and disillusionment she has sown into your life, marriage, and relationship. I know the child is mine, but now she has no option. Hell, she did it for him, she can do it for me. I'm not saying the told me the truth. It's just what he told me. I couldn't care less if it's true or not. Yes, my wife has done nothing but lie, and I accepted it at first because of the dire situation. I knew she knew how important this was and really believed she would be truthful. I know now that I was a fool and I have yet again been hurt by her and her lies. She met this man shortly after starting her new job in 2013. She worked at a temp agency and he had no job, so would come in to get oddball jobs from day to day. A day laborer kind of thing. He became a truck driver some months later. He would come in to get a job for the day, but it slowly turned into him just being there to be with her, the E as she called it. He was there for her when I was not, so she says. He said all the right things, I guess. I wish I knew how to contact his wife. Any suggestions would be great. I've done what I feel I could to find her, but to no avail. I do feel his wife needs to know everything, and I would love to compare notes with her, but again I don't know how to get in contact with her. Everything I have been able to find was a dead end. I would love, and I mean love, to inform her. It would bring a bit of peace into my life. I feel the OM has gotten away scot-free. I don't feel I'm being gullible. I feel I trusted the woman I love so much I was blind to see what was right in front of me. A mistake I have very much learned from going forward. Again, it's not his child. If I were to send you pics of my 3 kids, you would see there is nothing for me to worry about. It's my child, hands down. I only use it against her now so she can see what she has done to me and my trust and my thinking process. She has hurt me beyond words. I feel the paternity test for me will only strengthen what I am conveying to her. And I'm not willing to just take her back without consequences. She has lost me. Maybe not forever, but for the foreseeable future. She has lost her kids and her home life. She will be living with her mom starting next week. She won't see her kids or me, and she has been kicked out of our home. I also will be seeing a lawyer ASAP to draw up divorce papers. Will I go through with it? Time will tell, but she will be served and will know that I gave her a second chance and she blew it. She loses. Now she will live for the foreseeable future with the understanding that I gave her a shot to be honest. She blew it, and now she is faced with the divorce. Pregnancy has never agreed with her body. She became preeclamptic with all 3 of our children. Our first child was rough, but she made it through decently well, considering. Our second almost killed her, literally, as well as the child she had in her, our daughter. She was born at 6 months old and spent 2 months in the NICU. Our third child was born more than a month early. She found out she was pregnant end of October. Begin of November 2014, hard to remember exactly, but around this time, and gave birth June 19, 2015 by way of C-section. She literally spent a full month in the hospital on constant supervision because her eclampsia was so bad. while I was working full-time, taking care of our other 2 kids. Homework, dinner, cleaning house, showers, bedtime, wake early for school, repeat, repeat, repeat for a solid month. I'm not worried about the number of times anymore. Once was enough, but it's the lying and how easily she was able to do it. I have lost a lot of self-respect and dignity, unfortunately. I am numb. I have cried so much that I can't even cry anymore. Too many years of neglecting each other, holding resentment and hostility, despising each other for reasons unknown because there was no communication. Afraid to sit down and talk, discuss, and work on our problems to see if there is even a future together. Rug sweep it and move on to the next problem in our life. Not this time, not for us. This was the final straw for me and she knows it. Time will tell what's in store for us, but I am hoping for a positive outcome, regardless of what it is. I'm going into this though with a full heart. A heart that is hoping for the best but already fully prepared for the worst. I believe he is local but has been a truck driver for some years now and is always on the road apparently. I asked my wife, when the PIA was ongoing, how it was he would contact her. Would he come into town and blow up your email to get you to meet him, sleep with him, and then he went on his way? Would you hear from him in between that last encounter and the next, or was it just when he came into town? She said she never thought of it that way. I told her it sounds like once he finally got you to give in, you became his in-town meet. Said she would leave to meet him when I was at work, at a truck stop 30 minutes or so from our home. They would use his semi as their hotel. Little update to my situation. Things have been going pretty well. I have my good days and my bad days. Better than bad at this point, which I am happy about. Bad days can be rather depressing though. Hard to get out of the slump sometimes. I see for myself is going well. Just had my 8th session today. I've been going twice a week for a month now. I have never done IC before and I didn't really know what to expect, but it has helped me out a lot. Wish I had been doing this years. Talking with someone is so gratifying. Getting crap off my chest, working through issues at hand, new methods of dealing with and coping with my situation, etc. So glad I started it. My wife has also started IC. She had her 4th app today. She tells me she feels the same way about going. Should have been doing it for years. It has helped her in many already and I'm very happy to see how much effort she is putting into it as a whole. She is also investing a lot of time into reading books centered around me. What she did to me, how I am feeling, what it has done to me as a man, our kids, the family. Also, she has read a good bit of self-help books for her own issues. She is trying to gain all the knowledge she can to not only help herself and the family, but me. She has really put her working boots on. She informs me constantly of her whereabouts, even with pictures. Has agreed to an app where I can monitor her. Don't really feel that's a healthy option for me though. All her passwords. No more social media. Makes time for me, us. She has done great so far. We have done the STD tests. Clean. DNA tests were done today and will be mailed out tomorrow. Results in about a week, I hope. I also decided to DNA test all 3 of our children. I feel good about what has happened over the past couple weeks. They have been really good, with a bad day here and there, but for the most part, I am happy that I didn't just go for D. Not to say things will work out on the long road we still have to travel, but with her doing all she has been and all she will, hopefully, continue to do and me doing my part and continuing to do so, I really hope to see a happy ending down the road. She was overwhelmed by what was going on with me and I totally took it out on her. I was in a different place mentally back then, very depressed and sad within myself for what I was going through. Poor pitiful me, right? I could have handled my situation so much better and I realize that now. I don't really want to read the emails. I read enough and that was only 1% of them. I have accepted the fact that I will never know the truth and I can either keep digging and salt up my wounds even more or move forward knowing I only know a piece of the truth. I have decided to move forward and leave that in the past. It wasn't just 3 times. She did finally confess to that and I believe I posted that several posts back. I gave it a high number so if I do find out a true number, I won't be as shocked. I said 30 times but it was probably more than that and probably up until she found out she was pregnant. Not the 3 times she said an end of PIA in August 2014. We had arguments over some years where they would get very heated. This stemmed primarily after my diagnosis of MS, my own hatred of myself taken out on my wife, and after the initial IA was discovered by me. She never would come clean and I always knew what she had done but she wouldn't admit it. I began to harbor all kinds of negative emotions towards her. Anger, resentment, betrayal, etc. Arguments could get to the point that things get thrown, shoving matches, doors slammed and broken. A bowl of soup. It was few and far between but unfortunately it did happen. It's not something I am proud of at all and it eats me alive knowing we could allow things to get to that point. While some arguments I would initiate the abuse, there were many where she would too. It was very much a two-way street, although I am definitely more at fault. I own that and it is a big disappointment for me, in myself, that I am capable of such anger. I do have an anger problem, I am well aware, and I let small things get to me, but I don't take it out on my wife on some regular basis. Come here honey, time for your weekly beating. Not saying what transpired was okay. It was far from, but I have to say a different picture is being painted as to what happened versus what happened. Again, I don't know why she didn't go into better detail. I encourage her, if she reads this, to respond. Comment. She was going to the truck stop for years and had slept with the truck driver in his truck whenever he was in town. It was probably his favorite route to pass through this town. She was his in town who, he like far away said, and she had a sick husband and little kids at home. How can somebody do that? That is monstrosity. That level of betrayal is unbearable. OP, don't you stay with her because you are sick and afraid of being alone. You will survive this, fight for you. I know what you are thinking right now, and I understand you, but I would rather die alone in some small apartment than to live my days beside such a monster of your wife. The kids will grow up and they will help you in life and with your sickness, so please don't stay with her because you are afraid. I know that you don't love her anymore. Hell, who could love that woman after all of what she did to you and your family? Divorce her and go find some kind, understanding woman who will spend her days living and respecting you. OP responds, about the DNA tests back today. All 3 of my kids are biologically mine. I really had no doubt, as they are spitting images of each other, but it is nice to have a definite truth in my life right now. Something that I don't have to question. She has permanently ended the affair. No contact whatsoever. She wrote a letter officially ending it and gave it to me for me to send via my email. I also sent him an email. She has never seen or heard anything else about that letter. She has no idea if he ever emailed me back, nor has she ever asked. Changed her phone number, canceled emails, created new ones, no more social media at all. I have access to everything with all password. We both have apps that monitor our cell phone usage and where we are at all times. She constantly checks in with me throughout her workday. When she arrives, when she leaves. Although the app does this for me, she still does it herself as well without my asking. I managed to get his wife's phone number and had my wife call her and confess to her what had happened. I was there and I also spoke to his wife. I exposed the affair to our families. Very embarrassing for her but me as well, unfortunately. It had to be done though. We have both started IC. Soon we will start MC. She is very supportive of this. She knows and understands that reconciliation is a gift I have decided to give her. There will never be another chance. She apologizes quite often. But not just an I'm sorry, but I apologize for how I've hurt you, the pain I have caused you and how you have to deal with it, for the loss of trust you now have with me, for the shame I have brought upon you and our family. I hope one day you will allow me access to your heart again and know it is safe with me. See the difference in just an I'm sorry, it's empty and not heartfelt, versus I apologize for, followed by why and or what she apologizes for. We spend time together alone now. It's something we had stopped doing years ago. She makes a point to ensure this happens multiple times a week as well as do I. We also make a point to every night have a check-in. Sit down to simply ask how each other is doing that day and if there's anything that needs to be discussed. We don't allow issues to go on unresolved for any amount of time. Nip it in the bud. It feels good. We have a lot of physical contact. Sleeping together, yes, but way more than that. We, as often as possible, are touchy, feely, hugs, kisses, holding hands while just watching TV, back rubs, eye contact, long stares at each other, really just longing for the time we can hold and be with each other again. She has no problem answering any questions. Yes, I still have questions. This will coincide with our nightly check-ins if I need something answered. It's not to be brought up until this time as it causes stress on us both during our daytime hours, and that's what that particular time is set aside for, at night at the end of our day. Questions are becoming way fewer and far between, which is nice. Not only does she immediately know when I'm triggered by something, but she immediately responds to it with affection. Holds my hand, hugs me, tells me it'll be okay, and she apologizes for it followed by why. Very important. She also shows a large amount of shame, guilt, embarrassment, hurt, for what she has done to me. She verbalizes it to me. I see it as well. It's genuine. She tells me how grateful she is that I have given her this gift of a second chance. She is very thankful for it, knows she does not deserve it, and acknowledges it. She reminds me quite often that she wants me to be safe again, my heart to be safe again, and for me to know that it is. This will take me some time, but just hearing it is a great start. I appreciate it, and even more so, I appreciate that she acknowledges it to me. These are just some of the main examples of what she has been doing during our attempt at reconciliation. There are more, but these are the ones that have been so helpful for me and have shown me how grateful she is for her second chance. I have my own demons to work through in our R and am doing all I can do to better myself as well. It's a two-way street, but this is specifically what she has done to show me she truly wants to reconcile and start a new foundation for a new marriage down the road. Hopefully one day we will renew our vows again and have left the past where it belongs. My comment: would you ever take back your childhood love that gave you 3 children? Or you would end the marriage as soon as she has an affair? Comment down and I will see you in another Love TV.